Hey everybody, my name is Mark Purser. I am a teacher in the tradition of yogic meditation. I teach Yoga Nidra. It is a really big part of what I do. It is a very important practice for me personally, so I'm really keen to share it with you and as many people as I possibly can. And I wanted to create this video basically to explain what is Yoga Nidra, and secondly, why do I love it so much? As I mentioned, it is a practice that is very important to me. I have practiced a lot of Yoga Nidra. I've used it for many, many years and have had really profound results. And I'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's explain what it is. I mean, the simplest definition, essentially, yogic sleep. And by yogic, we mean connected, aware. So essentially what we're doing is putting our body into this state of deep rest, essentially putting the body to sleep. However, the mind remains awake, hence this idea of yoga. Nidra in Sanskrit means sleep. Yoga means to yoke, means remain connected. So essentially we put our body into this state of really deep rest and the mind remains awake. And because the body is at rest and the mind is awake, a couple of things can happen. The first thing that can happen is that we can have a really good rest and probably a better rest than many of us would get in normal sleep. I'll get to that in a second. But the other thing that can happen is that we have access to parts of our subconscious mind that are not easily or readily available to us. So we can actually do some really profound inner work in Yoga Nidra. It's sometimes called the sleep of the gods, and I often call it a superpower, this ability to consciously rest, to bring your state of being, of awareness into a state of softness, and it allows deep repair to happen on so many levels. The physiological level, the body can repair itself, but the mind, this dimension of karma and samskara, we can work on our patterns of consciousness, our patterns of thought, the underlying patterns of behavior that might be troubling us. So this idea of sankalpa, which is the resolve we make in Yoga Nidra, can become really important. It can become a seed from which really profound change can happen. We can totally reformat our whole psyche. So there's this, it should be differentiated between the technique and the experience. So Yoga Nidra refers to the technique, but it also refers to the experience. So there's a number of different techniques that are available, taught by different schools. They've all got a lot of commonality. They're all based on generally the same traditional teachings, which are tantric yoga, yogic and tantric teachings. And there's the main, you might have heard of iRest, Amrit, the Himalayan Institute, and the Bihar School of Yoga are sort of the main systems that are used. They've all, as I said, very similar, and essentially it's recommended that you get at one technique, get a teacher who's really competent in that technique, and stick with that technique for a period of time. I mean, I've worked with all of those major techniques, and they're all fantastic, and they all have a lot to offer, but I do recommend for newer students particularly, just get one, stick with that for a while. All of those four that I mentioned before are good. The second thing is the experience of Yoga Nidra, and that's essentially available to everybody. The technique is just the vehicle. It's a system that we work through, the body rotation you're possibly aware of if you've done it before. That's sort of one of the defining features, and then there's a series of things, including Sankalpa, that you do when you get into Yoga Nidra. But Yoga Nidra, the experience or the state of Yoga Nidra, is this hypnagogic state. And I'm talking about that here when we're looking at the brain waves, and that's a way of measuring your experience of Yoga Nidra. So that is separate from the technique. The technique is the car that will take us to the place, and this experience of Yoga Nidra, it's yours. It's your inherent state. It's a place that you have a right to be visiting. No one needs to charge you money to get there. It is an innate state that many of us have forgotten how natural it is to feel like this. So looking at the brainwave, excuse my little, this is an ECG if you couldn't pick that already. And essentially what I'm talking about here is we're slowing down the mind. This is the state of the fluctuations of the mind, the thoughts per, and it can be measured through an ECG. This is the sort of awakened, alert state, what they call beta. Going into a more relaxed state is what's called alpha. And that's generally just lying down, slowing your breath at the very beginning of Yoga Nidra. The theta state is often spoken about as this flow state, when you're deeply relaxed, you're very centered and present. And that is one of the earliest stages of Yoga Nidra. And sometimes that's as far as you'll get. Sometimes for some people, And that's wonderful. You know, it will enhance your creativity. It will enhance your ability to be productive. You'll, even in a short yoga nidra practice, if you're only doing 15, 20 minutes and connecting with this theta state, which is readily available for most people, you're going to bounce back from that far more centered, able to do better work, concentrate for longer, and generally just feel more comfortable in yourself. Progressing on into delta, and this is where the real magic happens. There's not a lot of awareness here. This is in the deep rest. It's what we could call dreamless sleep and deep restoration to the physical body. And also at this point, you are able to really go into the subtle nature of your own character, deep into the subconscious mind, where it's magic can happen here. And look, every single part of this journey has a value. Even if it's just a simple relaxation, going into alpha has a great value for so many of us. But it should be known, it should be very clearly understood that this is available to you in Yoga Nidra. It's a full-blown practice unto itself. And for some people, that's the only practice that they do. And if you're going to pick one of the yogic meditation practices, I would generally suggest Yoga Nidra would be the one, because you can go all the way with this practice. Why do I love it so much? I've covered a lot of this already. It enhances the other practices. I think that's important. If you're doing a lot of asana, a lot of physical practice, Yoga Nidra will help balance that out, or any other sport. It's just a way of integrating and restoring if you're doing a lot of physical practice. And also if you're doing a lot of meditation, which can require a lot of effort. There's this sense of effortlessness, effortless ease as it's sometimes called, Yoga Nidra. And it is a great way to counterbalance. And in yogic meditation, we create this holistic system with breath work. We're using a little bit of asana and our sort of seated meditation practices. Yoga Nidra, in my experience, is the fundamental kind of glue that holds the whole thing together. And it's just because it's so joyful and it's so easy. Lying down, who doesn't want to just lie down and watch our breath for a little while? It's because it's so easy, we're more inclined to do it. And for me, I'm a little bit lazy. I'm also a little bit anxious. It's this chill pill. You know, it's a chill pill without taking a pill, which is so important. You know, and it's used in a lot of cases as actually for PTSD or for people with anxiety disorders. It is a really solid alternative to medication. And I don't suggest anyone, if they're taking medication, drop the medication, but consider Yoga Nidra. Talk to your therapist. There's a lot of really strong evidence supporting Yoga Nidra as a practice and as a tool, a conjunct to therapy. And as I said before, this idea of the deep inner work, being able to change our psyche at the deepest level, again, using this Nidra state, this Delta state, and using Sankalpa, and certain techniques once you get into the Turiya state, into this deep Nidra state, working with the chakras, working with the Panch Pranas, the body's energy system, working with the dimensions of thought and vritti, it's fun. You know, it becomes a toolkit where you're really consciously working on your deep psyche. And so that is a journey that is available, as I said, to all of us. Because it's so joyful, because it's so easy to practice, Yoga Nidra is really there for anybody. So if you're interested and you want to connect with the practice, there's lots to choose from. Thankfully, it can be accessed from pretty much anywhere. You can practice at home. There's some great apps available. I have lots of recordings available on Insight Timer and other places. I teach regularly here at Bamboo Yoga, or you can connect widely through various other lineages. I really do recommend checking it out. I'm running courses and classes regularly, so please do reach out if you're interested or you'd like to know more. Let me know. Hari Om. I hope this has been helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.